Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. So, word on the roads is that Steve Harvey could have played a gigantic part to play in Wendy Williams' defeat since he plotted against her and attempted to destroy her profession. This show began on the grounds that Wendy tossed conceal as Steve's family so Steve pronounced battle on Wendy and attempted to pursue her sack. However, does this intend that Steve had a major hand in why Wendy's profession rushed? Okay, you folks, so you all expertise. I said that Wendy will. Liam's life is somewhat of a train wreck right now. We as a whole believed that her untidy life began after her significant other had a child on her. She got separated, needed to pay him provision, became ill, lost her show, and afterward had her cash seized by Wells Fargo. No doubt our young lady Wendy has experienced a ton, yet what a great many people don't understand is that the wreck began before all of this. It really began a couple of years before that, since it goes way back to when Steve Harvey attempted to kill her profession. Steve Harvey and Wendy Williams once had hamburger that was terrible to the point that he effectively attempted to destroy her vocation and ruin her. In the past, Wendy had met with so many celebs that it was somewhat difficult to monitor them all. She was continuously spilling tea and hauling celebs, so it's not exactly shocking that a considerable lot of them could have done without her. However, with Steve Youngster, the meet was private now. Most celebs who detested Wendy for the most part kept her at arm's length or disregarded her altogether, yet not Steve, on the grounds that he came for herself. And he came for her where he realized that it planned to hurt her syndicated program. Now, if there is one thing that we realize that Steve doesn't kid about, it's his significant other and his children, well, his embraced kids, since we realize that he don't be thinking often a lot about his organic children yet. See how you won't ever find him playing about math. Marjorie's children, and even among Marjorie's children, plainly Steve loves magnificence the most, in light of the fact that he indeed even used to take her own dad little girl date, which is something that he didn't do with his own little girl Dawn, one of our yearly dad girl dates to my number one Japanese calf. And you recently began conversing with me about folks, and you just let me know that you generally upheld me and you'd continuously show up for me no matter what. You cherished me genuinely. He never at any point had a relationship with his natural child, Broderick, until the kid turned 16. I didn't actually have my father full-time in my life until I was 16. Right. So yes, Steve favors Lori, and unfortunately, it has caused a show inside the family. An inside source said Steve made the best choice, embraced Marjorie's children, and cherished him like his own. Yet there's a great deal of disagreement among the mixed Harvey faction. There has sadly been some envy waiting among his kin over Lori, who's the most well-known of all criminal kids, assuming control over the spotlight with her high-profile love life, so you all can suppose somebody attempted to comfort Lori and humiliate her openly. Yes, Steve would go crazy, and that is precisely what happened to Wendy Williams when she freely humiliated and disgraced Lori. We realized that Lori used to date the future, and I won't lie, this was an entirely problematic choice on her part, since we as a whole realize the future is for the roads. Yet hello, her life and all stuff, and she can date who she needs to date. However, like I said, Wendy was chaotic AF, and she disgraced Lori on her syndicated program. And we're in Jamaica, celebrating her 23rd birthday, yet every one of the young ladies were there. Jordan, Tiana Taylor, all those hot young ladies were there. Okay, and the future has 8 children with 8 infant mothers. Lori wasn't conceived of as Harvey. Steve embraced her when he got with Marjorie, his better half, yet she got with him on some music. Okay, this situation was really pointless, and it was somewhat odd the way in which she raised the fact that Lori isn't Steve's organic girl. It wasn't even applicable to the subject of Lori's relationship with the future, and I sort of felt like she just raised the point to humiliate Lori significantly more. However, assuming you feel that was muddled, Wendy had more to say, and this opportunity came from Marjorie and Steve on the grounds that she went after them for their nurturing, popular Steve. I want to believe that you, what's more, Marjorie, are extremely glad for your girl. At 23 years of age, being with a man with such countless youngsters and going around, and she then, at that point, took steps to hurt Lori, assuming this was my girl at 23. I would break her neck, break her skull, and toss her down. This was so wrecked that she got called out online by fans for being savage. Somebody said I'm truly regarding to quit watching Wendy Williams discussing how she would toss Lori Harvey down the means and break her skull in the event that she was her parent as a result of her dating history. continued to discuss how she's heard a few things about her sickening, and then other individuals said, "Do Wendy Williams. I need to say it yet. But darn, she definitely disapproves of disgracing the manner in which she discussed Lori Harvey today. I toss my little girl down the means and break her bones ain't something I tell my girl regardless of the number of men that she'd been with. I believe that Wendy's set of experiences of being chaotic and some of the time discourteous of others is the explanation she hasn't precisely been getting at. Ton of help from the business. I mean, we've all perceived how much help and love Jamie Foxx has been getting from everybody in the business in the recent weeks, yet Wendy's life has been topsy-turvy for the past 2 or 3 years, and I don't think I've seen any celeb freely show her adoration. I mean, it's one thing to spell tea, yet it's something else to be out and out mean about it anyvo. Back to Steve and how he pursued his retribution on Wendy not long after Wendy discussed Lori. She felt wiped out and needed to remove some time from the show. The planning of this was extremely off base since there was at that point some discussion at Fox Network about dropping her show. Her medical problems implied that she needed to put a hold on the show, and the executives were stressed over how this might affect the show. The timing was ideally suited for Steve in light of the fact that his show had, as of late, been dropped by NBC, and insiders guaranteed that he was irate about this. However, at that point, how better to make a major return than to take the schedule opening of the one who hauled your little girl and humiliated you? Once reports of Wendy's non-appearance began circumventing, Steve promptly began looking at her spot, and surprisingly, took actions to get the spot in. The event that Steve took Wendy's spot. Besides the fact that he would get his vengeance on her, however, he would likewise adhere the finger to NBC for dropping his show, as per an insider. At the time, the Fox folks see Steve as a sufficiently large name and word in the business. He feels they don't merit him. They are thinking about a couple of individuals who can be a rating in the event that Wendy needs additional opportunity to get better. Steve is around one thing winning, and assuming he returns to his show to a major organization, they will siphon bunches of cash into it, and he figures it will get him back on the highest point of the television rating. It would have been the ideal vengeance for Steve on the grounds that Wendy's vocation would have gone down the channel in a split second. I mean, we've all been following her profession for the recent years and how everything has gone to tidy from that point forward that would have happened to her show on the off chance that Steve's arrangement had gone through. However, it didn't, and Wendy lived to battle one more day, yet, sadly, things haven't worked out so well for her from that point forward, and individuals feel like it's all karma for the awful things that she said about individuals over the course of the years. As I said before, he sort of went over the edge with the Lori thing, and dissimilar to Jamie Foxx, individuals aren't precisely her ally here. Since her vocation went down a channel, there have been remarks like what's going on with Wendy Williams. Cash is horrendous, and I disdain that happened to her, yet something to me feels like it's karma for every one of the dreadful things that she said about individuals over the course of the years, just to bring in that cash. Wendy Williams gradually falling apart is the karma she merits for being so rough and dreadful to such countless individuals. She ought to languish over as far as might be feasible, and might no one at any point cause me to feel awful for Wendy Williams. How wiped out she is correct now. Karma don't skirt anyone, despite the fact that Steve fell flat to kill Wendy's vocation without help from anyone else. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.